Good evening, viewers, and you're welcome to Star TV on your program Talk to the Nation. I am your host, Kauso Baji, and with me in the studios, I have two gentlemen who actually representing a movement, a youth movement that actually does a remarkable job in the Gambia. First, I start with Sir. You're welcome to Star TV and welcome to Talk to the Nation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Your name and actually the institution that you're representing as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kausu. I am Sharif Jahan, the interim PR or the spokesperson of the PYM, that is the Patriotic Youth Movement. Thank you for having us.
Okay. First, we start with the spokesperson. First, PYM is an abbreviation. Actually, viewers will want to know if you said PYM. Actually, what does it stand for?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's like PYM simply means the Patriotic Youth Movement. Like we have observed that this country, we have divergent views, but there's one thing in common, that we own this country. There's one thing is common, that we are all Gambians. There is one thing in common, that we have one destiny. So it's important for us to create a movement that propagates the interests of this country, that propagates that we should build a common ground, that we all belong to different parties, different ethnic, different ideologies, but we all Gambians.
Our interfaith might be different, but we all Gambians.
We're all Gambians.
Attributing the word PYM, could anybody actually associate it with the then most talked about BYM? It's kind of related.
Maybe the BYM, we might not know what much about it, but what is much important is, probably you can tell us what the BYM.
Yeah, it's the Barrow Youth Movement. Everybody talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
So
actually,
if you see the BYM and they kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
maybe the abbreviation would be very, very similar, just the B and the,
okay,
and the P. That's the difference. But for us, it's simply we are saying that our country belongs to us and everybody must be inclusive.
Everybody must be inclusive regardless of our faith base.
Yes.
Interfaith is actually possible, but we have a commonality, and that is we are all Gambian. Yes, sir, your name and then after that your position. But we would also want to know briefly the objectives and aims that actually succumb towards the establishment or formation of the PYM.
Yeah, my name is Malik Jaju. I'm currently the interim chairperson of the movement. Yeah, the aims of the movement, like my brother rightly said, you know, Fatulo, the youth of the country, they echo from different dimensions. We need that to end. We need people to wake up. Every single youth in this country, when you wake up, every single thing that you see written on the walls of the street of this country is Gambia. All we say with our tongue, all we sing, all we say is the national anthem. All that we see, and we want to take it to the next level, our struggle is all about moving that flag, the Gambian flag, to the high heights. Yeah, so the reason being because the youth were the strength of the country. Like they would say, we're the cream of the society. Yeah, so bringing those youths together with a common interest for nation building is basically the primary objective of the PYM. Yeah, surely. So education-wise, social movement-wise, activism-wise, advocacy-wise, the PYM is in it. Yeah, but basically getting all the youth under one umbrella, like the president will say, all hands on deck. Yeah, for nation building definitely is the basic principle, like, and the objective of the PYM.
Many a times, Mr. Jaju, we will see people establish societies, people establish movement, people establish organizations. In fact, governments, we've seen them coming on board. Many a times when they speak, they talk about these two important sectors, but by nature, these are the most neglected sectors, and that is youth and women.
Sure.
What do you think the PYM will actually bring on board that could be different or will be different with actually the numerous organizations, movements and societies that actually propagates that they stands to represent the interests of young people?
Yeah, you know, most of the time, quite often than not, all these youth movements we have, or maybe government parastatal somewhere, they have more of advocacy. Yeah, we speak about things like my brother will say, we only bark but we don't bite. That is, we just sit and talk and analyze. But what the work requires, we don't give it.
Okay.
And so there is no impacting. So there is no change. There is no change. There is
To
no.
the PYM, what actually would require gearing to ensure that we can be on the high gears, to be on the work?
Yeah, that is it. We have to go back to the drawing board. We have to go back and the Wolof said one word. They said, "So banye linga don."
Absolutely.
We need to go back to that root and try to tell the people who they are. Let them know their history. Let them know where they're from, so they know where to go. So this is what the PYM is going to do different. That is, we're going to reach out to the people, whether they're educated, whether they're uneducated, whether they're skilled, whether they're unskilled, whether the person that is well off or the underprivileged. We're going to reach out to every single person because we need all these people to be part of nation building.
Indeed, important moments. Before going further, let's just look at a little history of the PYM. When was it established, and how far have you gone with regularizing your status in the country?
Yeah, well, it was incorporated last year, September of last year. Yeah, so from there, like this Basef Fatoto project is the first on the line.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went on it, made every single investigation out there, came out with the report. Basically, that's the only completed report right now that we have. Completed job right now.
Yeah, but is it registered? Is it registered?
Of
if
course.
Yes, what are the other organizations that you are affiliated with? Are you registered with the AG Chambers? Are you registered with the National Youth Council? Because there is an act of parliament
Exactly.
in the year 2000 that
Yeah.
actually empowers the National Youth Council to register and deregister youth-led organizations.
Exactly. From the National Youth Council, we already took the form.
Okay.
The form. Subsequently, this week definitely we will submit the form to register officially. So
But with the AG Chambers?
not yet. That one is not yet. But the society is incorporated, registered at the Kanefe municipality as a youth organization.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already registered. Have a TIN number, have a bank account
Okay.
already in place. Yeah, so basically, like things are moving. But you know, it's a country where things move very slow.
Absolutely.
And the change that we need to
that.
do is not gonna be fast. Do neka luga.
The change that we need to do, I have a different concept. I always say to people, be the change you want, and that's the theme of the program. Talk to the nation, be the change
True.
you want. So getting people actually who are trying to move things to happen, they are coming to the right platform. Mr. Jangha? Indeed, these are prime moments in Gambia's development. It's true. Many people would say young people are from a very big chunk. In fact, people will tell you over 60% of our population. However, we have a Youth and Sports Ministry, we have the National Youth Council, we have so many organizations that are attributed to young people. But there are young people in the Gambia that don't even know that this institution exists because they are either underprivileged or they are not in organized societies that we presume to be organized societies. But to them, the societies that they are organized societies because that is their understanding of organizing them. It's either we call them the ghetto youths, either we call them dungeon boys, either we call them people that are actually looked at as underprivileged people. But to them, that is what they want. Is the PYM prepared to actually reach up those people that many a times our organized structures don't reach to, except when we have projects that are related to that? But then they become secondary. Is the PYM actually prepared to go and reach to those people to know what they're going through?
Yes, we are conscious of the fact that time dictates agenda. And if we don't know what time it is, we might do the right thing at the wrong time and get not the right results. And we very well also know that two things await a people. They either have to take up the responsibility to be the architect of their own destiny, seek the right knowledge and skills, and as well at the right time with the right agenda that they may take charge of what belongs to them, or they let it go to be in the hands of others to determine their destiny for them. So we have two options.
Okay.
If we choose the former, then it means we are prepared to be people that will be responsible for their independence, freedom, dignity, and prosperity. Or if we choose not to take up the responsibility, then we will become slaves that will be played by a falsified impression of an unfounded destiny. So these are the options that we have. So the PYM knew very well the foundation of this country is very weakly established. And then people talk about development, but we say development is not something to be pursued. Development has to be established.
Absolutely.
And that is why we are on our project to tell the nation what it needs. We are saying that this country needs to build its foundation on the right economic, social, and political principles and philosophies, the right attitude, the right activities, the right agendas that must be established before we be able to have a meaningful development.
Absolutely. But my worry is many a times who designed this agenda, who designed this time is the elites. And then actually we've seen so many development blueprints since prior to Gambia attaining independence, to Gambia attaining independence, to now the Second Republic, the second government in the Second Republic. Still there are young people that actually don't even feel that government exists. The only thing they know that exists in government is people that enforces the law, that is the police, the army, you name them.
The problem is this.
Yes.
That they are, it is the fact that they are ignorant. Ignorant by the fact of who they are. My brother said it. It is, if I don't know who I am, then I will not be able to stand up to take up responsibility and do for myself what is required of me.
Okay.
You understand? Now, this country, we know the elites, and when I talk about the elites, does not necessarily mean the educated one. The elite simply means those who are possession of wealth.
Yeah.
And they are the one determining the policies of this country. And we come to change that. We are saying that if we put you in power, we are the owners of power. We entrust in you that power that you might serve our general welfare and well-being. And we very well know also that the constitution that people are talking about is not the one that is ruling the people. We have what we call corporation that is ruling, that is the highest authority that influence our own leaders to serve the interests of the elites instead of the interests of the people. So we have two conflicting interests that we are saying, that we come and say, look, these elites did not put you there, they are the minority, and we are the people that put you there, we are the majority. We own the resources of this country. We own the air, we own the sea, we own the land. So if we say, take this responsibility and serve our general welfare, and then you want to stay in power, and you know very well that you need resources to build roads, to build hospitals, to build schools, to build all that you want to build, so that we will keep voting for you, keep our trust. But what do? You went to a certain group of individuals, maybe institution or outside countries' powers, get loan from there to quickly get what we want. But quick fix success is what is giving us a lot of problems.
Quick fixing of success is what gives us a problem. To us, it's a problem. To them, it's means of sustenance.
Now, let's put it like this. Now, the youth of this country, when I was coming, I saw Guinea-Bissau being welcomed.
Yeah.
I feel the joy that we have the potentials. That there is no single human being in this country as a youth that is not with the seed of potential to become a potential being that can serve to influence the world. No one in this country doesn't exist. But the environment required to create for the youth to be there and cultivate that innate power, the innate potential is lacking. You understand what I'm saying? You go to school, you ask, there's something very much important in civilization.
Okay.
That is information. That is, because this information shapes the philosophy of the people.
Absolutely.
And this philosophy, shapes the attitude of the people. And this attitude shapes the activities of the people. And these activities shapes the lifestyles of the people. And this lifestyle gives us the results. Now, if the philosophy is not right, then ultimately in the end we are not going to get the right results.
Okay.
So if the youth are not given that proper platform for them to develop and build up their potentials, then this is what is going to happen. They will not be interested in what the president is doing. They will not be interested in who is the minister. They will not be interested in what is happening. They will be in the ghettos and do what is best fit for them, that is to comfort themselves with that marijuana, with that cigarette, with that having that illusion of dreaming a destiny that doesn't exist.
Skyscrapers.
Yes, that doesn't exist. That means that's why training is the fundamental foundation of any society. That people have to be trained mentally to be prepared, so that they can stand up to do something for themselves and for their country.
Robert Nesta Marley said so, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can actually free our mind. Mr. Jaju, it's absolutely getting very, very interesting. We've picked about 12 minutes to actually talk about the PYM. Briefly, can you lead us through your first expo and what led to that? Because actually, there are so many projects ongoing in the country. Why actually that specific project, and actually what is the outcome generally before we will watch the video?
Yeah, like the brother rightly said, he said time dictates agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you don't know what time it is,
but time is designed by the elites.
that is true, but we have to understand that time is the most valuable resource we all have as a people. And if we need to change anything, we need to impact any change, we need to prioritize what is the problem or what is existing in the Gambia that is affecting the people most. Oppression, it has to end, no matter in whatever form it is. Oppression, as a people, we need to be free. So we prioritize oppression. That's why the Basse Fatoto project became the first on the pipeline. So we visited the place about some time last year, end of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, about an intel we received.
Established in September, that is like the last quarter more or less, towards
Exactly.
the last quarter.
Exactly.
We were able to actually embark on something within that.
Of course, and it took time because we didn't have, the team wasn't on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, some travel, so to get them back so that we can undertake this journey. Yeah, so the investigation went on. It's a government project out there under the supervision of Chinese. It's Chinese aid, road and bridge construction. Yeah, we receive intel there that the youths, Gambian youths that are working there, are working under excruciating conditions, very bad. And we went there to verify if it is true. Yeah, so when we got there, the entire team was there, had an interview with the employees, and it is true. These workers, they're not contracted. They're not contracted, which gives...
on daily paid.
They're paid daily, but they're not contracted, which gives the Chinese that privilege to hire and fire them at any time.
Okay.
Anytime, So, and you would see they work from 7 a.m. to 7 in the afternoon, 7 p.m. And it's a fixed pay. There is nothing like overtime.
Okay. But is the pay lucrative?
Well, one might argue on that. 250 for unskilled, I think 300 or 400 for the skilled. Yeah, one might argue on that. But the fact that there is no break, every single day they have to come to work is not right. They work from Monday to Sunday, every single day of the month. And if they're injured, like work in progress, if they're injured, they have to go to the hospital on their own expense. And you have to report back, even with an ED from the hospital. The ED will not be recognized. You have to continue working. So, yeah, under these conditions,
yes, we will also want to know, are there actually other probably means of compensation for injured persons? Even if you go in at your own expenses, will it be remunerated? Will they return what you've spent?
That will be like, maybe it has to be contracted, an agreement sort of, insurance sort of. There's none.
Okay.
There is none. Yeah, so we spoke to them extensively. Everything is on the video out there, explain their plight and whatnot. And the saddest part is they've complained to every single government institute or authority out there in URR, but all fell on deaf ears. Yeah, so for us to even get information from them was a problem. They were like, like this quotation was there, Nin man sakunda ma nyimbo molkan. Juma atollam juma de pour aliya bo molkan.
There's a belief.
Yeah.
Because many people believe the government is those people up there.
Yeah.
So if they don't, who will?
Yeah. So one has to be inspired by one reality. That is, if the oppressor is not tired of oppressing you, you should not be tired. You should not relent on fighting for your freedom.
I read one quotation which says actually no freedom is attained by free means.
Exactly.
Because the oppressor will always want to continue oppressing.
Exactly.
people.
Yeah, because the reality is the limit of tyrants is prescribed by the endurance of whom they oppress.
Absolutely.
So long as we continue to endure,
Yeah.
the oppression will continue.
Continue, that's for sure.
So
Generally, how easy or challenging was it to actually ensure that you worked on that ground trooping, getting information from those people? Because we know in the Gambia, people don't even want to talk to people, more specifically on camera.
trust me, it was very, very difficult. But but when you try to make people conscious of who they are and what is required of them, it's very easy to talk to them, to get everything from that. It's very easy. So we try to make them who they are, try to make them understand that they are in their own country. And it doesn't happen anywhere. Make them conscious mentally. Give them, make them understand the right that they have, the power that they have within them.
During the process of actually the ground trooping or gathering this information, have you actually talked to some of the people that are actually responsible, like the governor of URR, who actually by law represents the president in the Upper River region? Did you talk to the people or try to talk to the people that are actually responsible of the project? Do you talk to the people that are supervising the project to also sound their own reaction?
Yeah, well, one thing about Gambians is they want to dodge away from responsibility. That's always the problem here. So, we didn't engage the government, we didn't engage the police and the military out there. But we spoke to this SIS. I think he's a regional director of URR, something like that. Yeah, he came to the ground. He said he saw people with berets and all over coming and whatnot. He couldn't understand, so he decided to come and ask what's happening. So we gave him an insight of why we are here, and he even confirmed to us that, these youths always they complain of this, and he has always written reports about the situation and sent always to the headquarters, but nothing has been done yet. Who are you sending the reports to? He said to the head office always. Okay, so that means they are aware of what is happening.
Might be conscious.
Yeah.
Generally, after you gathered, I know it's actually on the social media, but as a youth-led organization, have you actually also taken it upon yourself to actually report to the National Youth Council or the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or even the ministry that is responsible for work? You have the Labor Department here also.
Yeah, well, true. When we got this information, the video and the written report, we approached the National Assembly Select Committee for Youth.
Okay.
We met the chairman. We spoke to him about it and then gave him the evidence, both report and then the video. After watching it, he recommended that we write a petition and petition the Chinese company. Yeah, that wasn't a good response at the first place. Because
why do you think it wasn't a good response?
Because it is his right. It is his right, his duty, responsibility to safeguard the welfare of those youths out there.
Because he sits in a committee that supposedly is supposed to represent
exactly.
the
So
interests of young
if we did that for him and brought him that information, that complaint he should have prioritized it and then gone all the way to verify if that is true or not. And if it is true, to take appropriate action.
Okay.
Yeah, so upon meeting him, he gave the recommendation, then he, even to get the petition requirements, because he said there is a petition requirement to write a petition, else you just send the petition and it will be rubbish. So you need to wait for the requirements to be sent. It took almost a month to get the petition requirements.
And this was in which year? Was it this year?
This year.
Okay.
All this year.
Early this year?
Yeah, early this year.
Okay.
Early this year. So after that, we met the National Human Rights Commission too.
Okay.
Yeah, gave them the report and everything. They promised to go and investigate too because they have a team of investigators. We were out there. They said how justly and how strong the institution is to fighting human rights and whatnot. But the reality is you promised to complete this whole work within a month. But till date, last week they called, after an interview we had sometime 2 weeks back, Fatu Network, we spoke about how weak they are, how irresponsive they were, because we called several times to make follow-up, because the 1 month they gave exhausted. We are 3 months up now.
Okay, so it means you have actually consumed a quarter of the year after submitting the findings that you guys made
exactly.
for them to verify and act.
After promising that it's just gonna take 4 weeks just to complete it.
Okay.
So they called just last week after 3 months, saying that hey, we've checked the entire thing. The thing is at the industrial tribunal, but we'll call you later to update you on which tribunal and the status of the case. They are not serious people.
we cannot actually say the National Human Rights Commission
Exactly.
is under-capacitized because I saw vehicles. You know, this is what I keep telling people. I saw the National Human Rights Commission 6. So it means if you have 6 vehicles, at least you can sacrifice one to travel to URR. So it's obvious that if they haven't done their job, and people like we would question, but notwithstanding, we will do our best to give them an iota of doubt for them to actually verify if necessary or if they are open. I know what we will do from now on is we will take a 15 minutes break to follow this video, but after that we will continue.
Talk to me now. When you are angry, now see that you want to challenge me for what? Violent challenge, violent challenge, violent challenge, violent challenge.
Gonna worry,
Go back.
No, man, don't touch me. No,
go back.
No, you are
not
push me.
No, you are not changing. Go back. I say go back.
I'm not going.
Go back.
No, you can't push me.
My brother, go.
If you want, you can't push me.
I say go back.
You can't push me.
Let him go back.
Don't push me.
Now let him go back.
Don't push me.
Or you call police to come here. They are just for me. Even I cannot even talk to my staff. Even my workers, I cannot even talk to them. They are here challenging me anything I'm doing. For what? And even they are even carrying a camera. I cannot even talk to my staff. They are here troubling me up and down. I cannot even. They are here a camera. They are front of my gate here.
Upon reaching at the site, we noticed that none of the workers was dressed in their proper safety gears. Speaking to Mohamed Jallo, who was a safety officer, he told us that none of the workers was supplied with proper safety equipment and that most of the supervisory jobs were handled by foreigners while Gambians handled just subordinate positions.
Communicate with these guys.
Yeah, we have a special language.
Which language is that called?
This boy.
Sana.
He's the only guy who can hear what he says.
So you are the fire and safety guy. But where are the shoes? You should be wearing a shoe, a glove, and a helmet. The helmet is okay, but the shoe.
These are the shoes that are available by.
But are you making, because you should be the one to make those things. Are you making any inquiries how to get proper?
Yes, I always make inquiries, but they know what they normally say is that.
One second. If it happens to fall on this, it will have more impact on your legs than if you were wearing a proper safety shoe. Because a proper safety shoe has some stuff at the end. It's like a metal. When it hits you, it doesn't go inside. It just stops at the metal there. So you should not allow these guys to go that. When something hits you on your leg, you lose your leg. And it's irreplaceable. Why will you get money to buy new legs? can't buy new legs. So do your work on that end. You have to pressurize them, and then they will pressurize. Okay, they will pressurize the guys at the other end for you to get safety and proper gloves because they don't care.
Keeping.
I know what you are saying.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't want to be treated, so bad. But and some even kick some laborers.
They kick laborers here.
Yeah, and it's so.
I mean, here you have these guys sitting down here and doing nothing, and there you have the brothers working all day, and then they are getting the lesser salary. They do not have positions. And this is unacceptable. It's our own country. We should be treated better. Thank you very much. What's your name? Mohammed Jallo.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
so much.
liggéey bi daal ñun tamit kontaan na bu baax a baax because youth si am na ay fu mu ñu war a jàppal pour liggéey am si dara loolu daal loolu big thing la si youth si and then si loolu si kaw loolu tamit am nañ ay jafe-jafe tuuti si biir liggéey ba mooy lan liggéey bi war na am ay superviseur yi nga xam ne daal si side buur bi la wala jógee ñëw si pour seet si liggéey bi naka la ñëwee demee because seen si dañ ñëw fii rek pour jàppale ñu waaw dégg la bon su fekkee ne gars yi mu ñu jàppa waaw kon war na nekk tamit ñun tamit ñu am suñu freedom si loolu ñu am kaddu si loolu tamit because nekku ne daal dañu ñëw rek taxaw xol ñoom ñu dee def wala seet ñu lu lay def noonu du loolu rek ñun tamit ñu ngi fa daal pour ñu am si dara wala xam si dara wala ñu am suñu jëriñ si liggéey bi kon su fekkee ne ñu ngi defee loolu rek tey gars yi jël la si liggéey bi ëllëg daaxala wala jéeda tey gannaaw ëllëg daaxala di nga gis ne loolu leneen la si liggéey bi.
Interview with people that are affected. This is not a hearsay, but this is directly you hearing people actually narrating their own audience and what they have gone through. There are institutions that are in the Gambia, and we expect them to actually follow similar steps. If anyone is actually contemplating either it is a made-up story or not, you can go to the URL and verify. We want to live in a country whereby the people that we always claim to represent, and so we must do our best to represent them. That is one way to motivate the young people to actually go and learn skills, but also make sure that they are actually sitting in their countries to ensure that they can contribute their small quotas for us to enhance the democratic dividends. If not, the enhancement of the democratic dividends becomes just an illusion but will never be a reality. If young people are maltreated in such conditions in their own countries by government-led projects, what will happen to other institutions? What do we expect to happen in other projects that are led by other people? I am your host, Kauso Baji, and with me you have Mr. Jayo and Mr. Jangha in the studios. Mr. Jangha, after watching this video, briefly, what can you tell us as far when it comes to what young people are actually going through? Because we would believe if this can happen in a government-led project, this is actually one of the lists that we expect in a country that we call democratic.
We are over 50 years from colonial rule, oppression, and slavery. But it's like, it appears to me that we are not learning. We have not learned history. How did they come in initial? As missionaries, then as traders, then as colonists, then as imperialists. These are the steps they take to take us back to the condition where for 400 years we were deprived of our human rights. We were deprived of our dignity. We were deprived of our liberty. We were even deprived of the right to be a human being. We were torn inside out, upside down. We were turned into human beast instead of a human being. So, and we see that reoccurring this generation.
In a civilized way of control.
In a civilized way, but it's actually the same thing.
Absolutely.
If I have to work from morning in 7 o'clock to evening 7 o'clock, that is reminding me of the plantation. That we were a slave working from morning in to evening. It's repeated. History is always repeating itself if we are not conscious of the fact, or if we are not reading of history. And this is not a small or light matter. This is something that we are saying it just cannot continue. And look at it. We have exhausted all we can exhaust. We have met all we can meet. And promises are made, nothing has been fulfilled. Do you know why? The reason is this. Whoever, most of the time people will say, you cannot bite the hand that feeds you. That feeds you. Now, and also he who dictates, who pays the piper dictates the tune.
Absolutely.
If Chinese are hoodwinking our government, and our government wants to stay in power, and the only way is for them to get funds and do the development projects to blind the people and say we're doing this, we're doing that, and then Chinese will be given immunity to do what they want to do without any question from any authority. This will happen because there is no accountability as to what they do, whether it is right or wrong.
That could actually happen when there are no facts presented.
Yes.
But if facts are actually presented to the right and responsible authorities, it's obvious that they cannot. They shouldn't turn a blind eye.
Okay, we have seen. This is not the only country we've seen it. We've seen it in Congo.
Yes.
How did it happen? Authorities are there. We watch videos where young girls, young boys, ladies, young men exploited. Just this institution can get access to the resources exploited to the detriment of the life and the future of those children. What has the authority of Congo done? Nothing. You know why? Because they are in the same traps. Let's put it like this.
But then we will understand it's the situation of the governments that they
No,
have.
it's like this. Let's people don't understand one thing. That there is a web created. And if a spider creates a web,
Yes.
and you are a fly, and you made a mistake to come and just have an accident contact with that web, you are trapped.
Yes.
And ultimately, you're going to be a food for the
Absolutely.
for the spider within some time.
Yeah.
Web is created under the disguise of development aid, development loans and grants. This is a web created. Anybody that falls into that web
Will dance to the
will dance to the tune of the conditions that are there.
And this it may include even dehumanizing your
Humanizing your people without saying anything. Now, let's put it like this, in context for people to understand why this country is still where it is. But now let's look at it. You are given a loan. People maybe do not understand the difference between what is a loan, what is aid, what is grant. And I think it's high time for people to be explained what does these three means. They are used, you hear it on the newspaper. Ask many people, what is aid? What is aid?
What is a
What is
grant?
loan? What is grant? They will not tell you because they don't know. But people most of the time, aid is free. It's never free. Most of the time, when you talk about aid for the Gambia and aid to the United States, are two different aids. They don't call them in fact in the same name. Any fund that is coming from a creditor institution or creditor state to let's say the Gambia setup. Now that loan that attracts 5% interest is called aid because it attracts less interest. And more of loan will be at least more than so. Let's say if you take $10,000 to build a bridge, then you're expected to pay an interest of $5,000. That's 5%. That's $15,000 you have to pay him. So now where are you going to get the money from? So that's why you have increase in the price, increase in the goods and services that is in this country to pay that loan to those people. Now you say you develop a road, but the people are being deprived of the cheapest material that they can use to survive. And you not prioritize the agricultural sector. Do you know why? Because there are conditions. People should understand the Doha round table and understand why are governments not really serious about creating an agricultural subsidy so that they can empower farmers. Why?
Because there are conditions that are restricted.
Attached, that they will not be able to interfere. People should understand. People talk agriculture, we bring milling machine, we bring this. That cannot take agriculture anywhere. If, for example, youth were empowered, these people cannot come to this country and exploit it in that manner and we keep quiet and silent and accept it. Do you know why? We are desperate. We want to have some little money that we will have to sustain ourselves and get ourselves some food and some clothes that we can sustain ourselves for a time. That is why we see us accepting the degrading conditions. Do you understand? And we see ministers getting 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles
Absolutely.
And just look at the expensive vehicles they are driving, the fuel they are consuming. Just the cost of the, let's say a cost of 1.5 million, you buy a vehicle, that is the cheapest, that is the lowest cost that the vehicle costs, the fuel every day. Within 1 year, 2 years, the fuel is consuming every day is far bigger than the price.
And very recently, it was sometime in March where we saw the Gambia government spend like over 239 million on vehicle maintenance. When actually the statistics shows that Gambia government had only 925 vehicles. I'm saying the word only because considering the amount of money that they spend on vehicle maintenance, on a ratio of 925 vehicles, you tend to wonder how much does a vehicle spends for maintenance in 1 year. But this is what we call the Gambia. These people will not be called thieves. These people will not be called whatsoever because they have met up requirements that were designed by people that they call the GPPA regulation, that they call the invoicing. So you get 3 quotations, you get the receipts, and then they actually let you go. But this is why I said the elites design the agenda, they design the time. And this is why some young people believe that they don't want to dance and wine and dine with those people. They have to create their own environment where they find their comfort. But this is what we call the Gambia, and this is what we call democracy.
That is why that is what PYM came to stop. That we are not going to relax anymore and allow these people to embezzle our resources, misuse it, and play it anyhow. This is our resources. This is our life our sweat and blood that we have toiled daily and put it in that treasury that you might use it to serve the necessary development we require as a country. So you cannot take that money and form a cabal, a club, where you decide as to how the money should be played with. You're bringing about fake projects. I can call that is a fake project.
Absolutely.
Because the maintenance of those vehicles is irrelevant to me. It's my opinion.
Even if relevant, the National Assembly could have looked at value for money because this is what serious countries are doing. If somebody said, I spent $1 million in 8 days, you looked at the value of $1 million over the project that person had established. But then, if you only want to look at a regulation that is designed by another elite to say, okay, for you to do procurement, you actually need to meet up with the JPPA regulation. You need to get 3 quotations. You need to get this. You need to get that. That person does all those things, but still in the detriment or to the detriment of the people that are actually taxpayers. You allow that person go home and sleep with our millions of dollars, and you call that democracy. That young person who don't have opportunity to be employed, his or her right is being violated by another person who had the opportunity to control a project within a short period of time. That person's right is violated, and you turn a blind eye towards that, and then you think that is democracy. This is why the other young people don't want to. So they end up creating their own system and networks of getting money, and the system said this is wrong, but they find their joy and means of employment on that. And every time they are being chased by the security officers. So generally, I understand the issue of young people and the available organization, but how serious are youth organizations and movement in fighting the quest of young people, Mr. Jajo, in the Gambia?
Yeah, you know, like my brother rightly said, one thing you cannot separate is that the person who is keeping the money, that is the government, and the one who he employs to make the regulation, they are in cohorts. They are in cohorts. So it's like wanting to steal the money that is with you. So you bring the person to establish a regulation that you'll be using to spend the money, and you spend the money in that direction, and it's gone.
And then you get a free ride.
This is it. The one who made the regulation, because we could have sit down and understand when we are making regulation, there are things that we prioritize. That is the people first. It's not it's not in any interest of the people to maintenance, like to use that money and maintenance vehicles. How does it impact the life of the ordinary Gambian? So it is not irrelevant. It is very, very much irrelevant. So you understand that young people in this country, you know, corruption in the Gambia, like I always said, at the hood, is not something that is in the offices. No, who are in the offices?
It's us from our homes.
It is your brother, it is my uncle, it is his sister, another person's father, another person's mother, another person's auntie. From our own homes, they live every day daily to go to the office. What is in the office? A desk, some file cabinets, pens, papers. They cannot be corrupt. So it is the people that are occupying those offices that are corrupt. But the understanding that we need to do is not that when you enter that office also you become corrupt. No, you are corrupt from the homes. I'm going to give you a perfect example. If my father was a cabinet minister, and then let's say he used his salary just like that, a Gambian salary cannot build you a mansion. Never mind a minister.
Yes.
You cannot build a mansion.
Absolutely.
So after being employed as a minister for 5 years, he then comes home to his original home where the corrugates are normal, building is normal, the painting, everything is normal. You know what people call him in the street? They say he's a field man. I'm a minister. I'm kuduteno. But I'm a kudutela munela. How do you expect him play kudute? What are you okay?
But this is what we embrace.
That's the problem. So corruption it's embedded in us. We take it to be normal. The normal Gambians take corruption to be normal. In fact, they have to tell you, hey, police, no, it should not be like that.
It should not be like that. But if actually the system is driving you to that, because not doing it means you are a failure in society. Not doing it means you are a failure to the household head or to the family. More specifically, if you happen to occupy the position of a household head.
Yeah. So what happens is when we organize ourselves as youth, what we try to do first is to read on how nations evolve. When we read on this, we become conscious. We look at our society, have an overview, make research on it. We understand what is our problem, what is holding back development. So when we understand that we need to go back to one person and try to liberate themselves mentally that corruption, never mind, it is not right. That tribalism, never mind, whoever did it is not right. That division by ethnic lines, by religious lines, by political lines, it should not be like that. We should try to do this different. So what we do different, what is the POM going to do different from other youth movements is we're not going to do advocacy. Advocacy alone, no. We're going to reach out to those Gambians. We're going to reach out to those Africans. Make them conscious of who they are.
We're going to reach out to those Gambians, reach out to those Africans, and make them conscious of who they are. We're actually running out of time. I keep saying this in many of my programs. I said the only natural resources that God has distributed evenly in all the continents, be it Asia, be it Africa, be it America, is time. Time everywhere is 24 hours, and every hour is 60 minutes, and every minute is 60 seconds. Time is our greatest enemy. We're actually running out of time. Finally, in conclusion, generally, what would you want to urge the current government and also people that are currently occupying responsive positions that we expect could actually respond to the just ended interview that we watched, that your team had actually embarked on and came up with this strong and some of these unbelieving stories that we're seeing or hearing people narrating, generally in conclusion?
Yeah, that is, we need to be conscious of who we are. If we're not conscious of who we are, then it leaves us in the middle of nowhere. So first, I would talk to the government. Let it be such that let's build governments on the basis of human survival and civilization should be prioritized. This we have to do on the basis of trying to end oppression, on the basis of freedom, of political, economic emancipation, on the basis of advancement. So when we prioritize this, you will see we take the right man for the job, and we make sure that there is control, there is accountability, there is transparency.
People will argue that we have actually the separation of powers. We have the executive, we have the legislative, and we have the judiciary, and this is separation of powers.
There is no separation.
Said who? And why?
Said me, because you understand that they are in solitude. They are in solitude. Yeah, tell me, if at all it is a serious country, I'm going to say this straight, if at all it's a serious country, people like Barrow wouldn't be in power today.
No.
If the people voted for him, then the National Assembly will impeach him. Because every single day in this country, he does something that warrants him to be impeached.
But we don't even have that
This
in
is the
our
reality.
laws.
So,
because even a National Assembly cannot be recalled.
So you understand that this is not a serious country.
But that is why the separation.
Excuse my language. Excuse my language. So we get back to the people. To the people is we reach out. Those conscious minds in the society. Like I have a brother at the hood. Big up to you, Aliu Andu. They will always tell me that when someone has a mindset that understands when things happen that this is right, this is wrong, and the impact that it's going to bring in future, then you have a burden of responsibility on you. What is that burden of responsibility? Allah has given you that task so that you can change the mindset of the people, so that you can talk to the people and make them conscious like you are. So to us that have this great initiative, we have a burden of responsibility, that is to reach out. But to you, to the media, you have a part to play in this. Because you understand, quite often than not, we have all these media people, journalists in this country sitting down. What do is just to get the news and then we report it. How do we get the news? Just the normal trend of propaganda. The news that they want people to hear, that's what they will feed you people, and you will give it to the people. Where is the investigative journalism in this country? Where is the likes of Frank Kamindo, the late Frank Kamindo, and the likes of this man, Louis Muamba of DRC? Of course, they were investigative journalists that gave their life for this cause.
But this is what I wanted to say. We all know how they ended.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. After all, death is a reality. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
But we need to do the right thing.
We need to do the right thing. Death is a reality and it's inevitable. Finally, Mr. Janha.
I will start from where he ends. That is, it is the duty of the civilized to civilize the uncivilized. It is the duty of the educated to educate the uneducated. And that is our responsibility. That is why we are saying we are not going to sit by idle. We have to inform and educate the people. The little things we be in our corner and read and understand, we translate it to the people and say, this is what should happen. Our country has been used as a football to be played with anyhow. 50 years playing with our country, and anybody comes into power and just bamboozle and hoodwink the people and do what you want, build them borehole, build them roads, and that's the end of it. And their children is not educated, they are not conscious, they don't know their responsibility as to what to do to become independent, free, dignified people. We are not interested in what office you have built. We are saying, what are you doing there? This is a holistic approach that this country is built. When you talk about a state, we are talking about the institution that forms and the laws and the rules that govern, to put that society of people into order, that they will organize themselves to build an economic system that will be warranting to give everybody prosperity, live in happiness and joy. And that is possible. But the problem is, those we have given authority to serve us do not have any agenda, they don't have any vision towards the people. They are only driven by the motive to get wealth and share it with their associates, those people within their cabal, and then take their children outside this country, give them the education they wish, and then us who are the owners of the wealth, the owners of power, the owners of this country are left in the streets, are left not being able to do what we want for ourselves. Then we are saying now, it is time we rise up and educate our people. We are saying the media has a responsibility, as he said it, that the propaganda cannot be left to feed the people garbage. Sometimes I don't want to listen to the news because I know it's a propaganda. I know it's not something that is fitting for people to absorb. Sometimes I listen to radio, I feel like I know what this one is saying is not true. Because sometimes I write and say the two things that these people are using to shape the kind of destiny they want for our people. They use the school and give us garbage. They use the media in form of things that are very irrelevant.
Time is up. Absolutely. We actually thank each and every one present, those in the control room, for the job well done. Thank actually those actually has also taken their time to follow this program, both on our social media platforms and also on the TNT. I am your host, Kausu Baji. Till we come your way next Sunday. Thank you, and then bye.